What's going on, Divas Nation? I'm Gary Cook, and this is a Divas Dive. And today we are talking Rise, Pride and Joy. They had a really big show that had some epic moments, some huge announcements, and we're going to dive right into all of those as we cover it match by match, promo by promo, and talk about what went down on the show. And if you haven't done it already, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment and a follow if you're on a podcast. So for those that don't know, Pride and Joy was the Rise show to celebrate Pride Month that rounded out the month of June. It was women's athletes mixed in with gay, lesbian, and transsexual performers from the LGBT community as a whole. So this is the first Rise card that is a mixed gender one as a whole that I've ever seen. So that was a new aspect to it. My first time being exposed to a lot of the performers on this show, as when you mainly just follow the women's side of things, you don't get exposed to a lot of male stars that are on the come up. But some really great talent was on display here, and I'm really excited to see some more of it that we'll talk about towards the end as we learned about some big things happening in Rise. So to kick the show off, we were greeted by Sonny Kiss and Nayla Rose from AEW. They were the masters of ceremonies for the night. They would come out a couple more times. We'll talk about I want to say it's their third appearance, as that one had the most impact on the show. The first two were a bit more of just rah, get excited, enjoy the show kind of stuff. So just the filler promos to keep things moving. So there wasn't a ton to talk about on those. So we're not going to really spend much time on that as we do the matches. And the one segment with them that did have quite the impact on the show as a whole. So the night opened up with DJ Summers versus Regina Honey Badger. I have seen a little bit of Honey Badger's work as she's been on Rise and a few other shows that I have watched over the past year, I'd say. DJ Summers, he was brand new to me. I've never seen anything he's done before. It was a good match. It was a solid opener. Not much to write home about. Nothing really big happened in it. There was a pretty funny line at the beginning of it where Honey Badger was being her crazy feral self, and DJ let her know that she was at a 10 and she needed to bring it down to a 2. The way he delivered it was great and made for a good laugh. Really, this match, the best parts of it was just the character work, getting to see a lot of DJ's personality, as well as that playing off of the feral nature of Honey Badger as she did her thing. Sorry about the mic bouncing there. My cat has decided that she wants to sit on my lap for this review, so a little bit of bouncing there, but I think we are settled now and good to keep going. Let's see. So that match, DJ Summers did win it with a big boot to the face of Honey Badger that laid her out. He got out of dodge quick as she was snarling about her loss on her way out of the ring. But it was a solid opener. It was a good highlight and showcase of two talents that we were informed were found through the Rise seminars that they've been having. And that's how they got to the main show, was through impressing the staff and wrestlers on the main card at the seminars. So it's always cool that they do highlight the talent that they're working with and bringing up, and keep a good focus on that, developing future talent and giving them a chance to shine. So that was the opening match. Not a whole lot went on. Not a whole lot to talk about. It was pretty standard affair, and it went really well. I enjoyed it. It was a good way to kick off the show as a whole. Next up, we got Sophie King and Rain Lin Sophie King, I have seen a few matches of in First Wrestling and her spot in the Rumble, and I believe there's one other one she was on that I can't think of right now. I think she might have been on the Anarchy show I saw as well. Thinking back, Rainlin, I really got to like her through WoW. Was where I was first introduced to her and her Coachella character there, whose name escapes me at the moment. But I've become quite a fan of hers. This was a really good match. I enjoyed it. It was maybe the best match of Sophie's I've seen of the small handful of hers that I've had a chance to witness. She's really gotten good at playing the size advantage she has over smaller girls. They had a good sequence at the beginning of Raylin trying to shoulder block her down, but that was not going well for the much smaller girl. Um, Sophie's really learning to use her size well, so that's great to see. It was definitely a good match in that sense, where Sophie was looking to overpower, and Raylin was looking to use the exposed kneecaps of Sophie to chop her down and bring her down to her size. Um, the match ended with Raylin hitting a nice looking RKO out of nowhere, as those tend to appear, and getting the pin shortly after that as Sophie went to lift her up. There's a little bit of a knee buckling from all the work that was done to her knees earlier, and Raylin got the pinfall victory. Another solid match, definitely a good secondary bout. As I said, if you follow Sophie King, this was definitely one of her better matches that I've seen, if not the best. She's really starting to get a hang of just being more of that monster in the match and making the smaller girls work her down and bring her down to their level. The next match we had was Miranda Alizé versus Candy Lee. This was my first time ever seeing Candy Lee. I had never seen her work before. And Miranda has won me over the past few Rise and she was on the last Shine show too. The past few shows I've seen have had Miranda have really won me over to how well she works in the ring, and I'm excited that the end of the month she'll be at the show that we're going to cover live. So I'm excited to get to see her in person and hopefully get a chance to meet her and maybe get something for the podcast if we can line some stuff up before then. So that would be awesome. But before this match starts, Miranda cuts a promo. She had her finger all splinted up on one hand, talks about how she has injured her finger. She's not medically cleared to work because of that. And frankly, the venue, the staff, the fans, and the opponents were not worth her time. It was a really good heel promo. It got her a lot of heat. Definitely got the crowd against her. She promised Candy Lee, though, that she would get an opponent for her from the back and that there would be a match. And as she was walking to the back, Candy Lee was having none of it. She grabbed her, threw her, and brought her back into the ring, which led to a pretty good match. Candy Lee was definitely on the receiving end for a good chunk of it after the initial whoop, we lost the mic. Awesome. Was definitely on the defensive for most of the match as Miranda had the upper hand, it seemed like, even though she had the hurt finger. I would like to see more of Candy Lee. I'm excited to see what she brings. The little bit we did see, there's definitely some interesting character there. There's definitely a good amount of talent. So I am curious to see what else she can bring to the table, as I'm not that familiar with her. Miranda did have she plays a heel great, and she had a cool heel spot of working Candy Lee over in the corner and then putting her finger, kind of twisting it around where the turnbuckles connect to the post, and then stomping on it just to kind of even things out some and injure the finger there. The match ended, though, with Miranda getting a eye gouge with the finger splints to Candy Lee and then getting a pin off of it. So Miranda was your winner for that match, and it was an enjoyable match. A lot of good heel work from Miranda, a lot of getting to see her be kind of her backstabbing and shady tactics that work so well for her. Next up was Kimberly versus AQA. AQA is definitely an up-and-coming star. She's really fun to watch. She's all over the place, and definitely just a ball of energy in the ring, where Kimberly definitely brings that veteran experience to the match, and just hard-hitting offense when she wants to. AQA was definitely the heavy favorite in this match. The audience was 100% behind her, which was a bit odd, as usually Kimberly has a pretty good bit of the crowd behind her, but she was not having it today. AQA tried to keep the match very fast-paced, very in her wheelhouse, to keep Kimberly off her toes. It worked for a bit until Kimberly caught her, and then it was just downhill from there as Kimberly brutalized her until she ended up with the win. The one thing I will say about AQA, though, is as much as I enjoy watching her, I feel like she needs to take her energy down a notch or two, as a lot of times when she's rushed, when she's going into a big spot or a high-risk spot, it does feel like she goes in a bit too fast, as she has a lot of missed footings, some slippages at times. At one point, she went for like a springboard arm drag and just took a really nasty-looking fall where Kimber just kind of caught her and turned it into a pin to save it. But that happened a couple times throughout the match where she lost footing or nearly lost footing, and it just looks sloppy. And when you're going for some of that fast-paced, high-risk type stuff, it needs to look clean and second nature to you for it to really translate as looking awesome. It's a very fine line between being awesome and looking messy. And in this match, she had a lot of spots that just looked messy. So that was a bit of a downer there. I'm excited to see what she does. I'm hoping she gets some more matches in, gets a bunch more experience to really clean up those loose ends and just take it to that next level. As she's definitely the future, I think she just needs to take her foot off the gas a little bit and work on cleaning up some of her transitions, so that way the impressive stuff she does comes across as impressive and doesn't come across as being quite so sloppy. So this was the first half of the show pretty much. We're going to take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsors of this podcast if you're listening on the audio version. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, throw us a like and a subscribe, and we'll be right back with the next segment. All right, we are back from that sponsorship break. Now, let's take a look at the second half of the Rise Pride and Joy card and talk about it. It kicked off with probably what was the match I was looking most forward to. The triple threat tag team match for the Guardians of Rise tag team titles. We had Almost Famous, who was Zoe Sky and Courtney Rush, making their return to Rise Wrestling. Then we also had Sea Stars and the Killer Death Machines, who are your champions. This match was just a lot of fun. Zoe Sky and Courtney Rush are both really fun to watch. Sea Stars are by far my favorite tag teams going right now. If you've watched any of my past shows that has had them on there, you know I always rave about how great they are. And you can't really go wrong with Killer Death Machines, with Jessica Havoc and Nevia working together to just destroy people. We started things off with Courtney Rush's return to the ring, and Nevia in there. They had a few good exchanges. Nevia thought she was going to be smart, and since it was a triple threat tag, you could tag anybody from any team in. She tagged in Zoe Sky, who is Courtney Rush's partner, so it was their whole team in the ring against each other. Which almost completely backfired, as Zoe Sky just laid down, Courtney hopped on for the pin, and they could have won the match via pinfall right there for the belts. They got to a 2 count before the other two teams realized what was going on and dove in the ring to break up the pinfall and keep the match going. Ashley tags in to take on Zoe. They have a pretty good exchange going until Zoe's tired of Ashley getting the upper hand on her and tags in Jessica Havoc. which leads to a really cool sequence of nobody wanting to mess with the monster that is Jessica. They kind of played tag around the ring, everybody getting tagged into and finding ways to avoid facing off against Jessica Havoc as much as they could. But eventually, they got caught, and Jessica just started destroying people in the ring. They did a great job of booking this match to make Jessica Havoc look like the monster she is. Whenever she was in the ring, she was just destroying people. At one point, she had two girls in her arms and just completely flipped them over her head. She caught Zoe and Courtney in a double choke slam and was just running roughshod over the smaller competitors in this match. The match ended, excuse me, in the ending of the match was really well done too. I love that part, and it's definitely set them up for a Killer Death Machines versus Sea Stars rematch, I think. Ashley had Nevia in a submission lock, while Jessica Havoc took Zoe Sky to the top rope and hit a top rope tombstone on her, and then covered her. And as soon as the 3 count hit for the Death Machines to win, Nevia tapped out right after that at almost the exact same moment as the 3 count was being counted. So it could have kind of almost gone either way. It was down to the wire there. I would love to see Sea Stars versus Death Machines at a future Rise show. I feel like they could put together a really good match, and it would be really awesome to see, as they had great chemistry in this match and some pretty cool spots together, working off of the monster presence of Jessica Havoc, as well as just some really good exchanges with the smaller Nevia, who was more in line with them being able to do things with. So I would highly recommend checking that match out. It was really good. It's probably up there for my match of the night, just because I loved all 3 teams that were involved. So I'm completely biased and just really had a fun time watching that match. The next match, I don't have any words for the next match. It was Double D Rose versus Joey Ryan. And it was what you'd expect from that match. I don't even know where to begin on that. It was just madness top to bottom. I'm not a big fan of the comedy wrestling stuff. I understand the appeal of it. It had moments where I was chuckled, but I don't think the match didn't belong. It's just not one that I enjoyed. I feel like comedy wrestling definitely has its place, and this was a good place for it. It was fine. I don't know how to describe it. It was just all kinds of madness happening, and that's kind of what you expect from a Joey Ryan and Double D Rose in the ring together match. If you like that kind of stuff, people were raving about it, I would definitely go check it out. It was definitely one of the more bizarre Joey Ryan matches I've ever seen. It ended in a double countout. I'll let you go explore the VOD to understand how that happened yourself, as it's a lot to take in. After that, we had a doors match, which is like a tables match, but the only way to eliminate your opponent is putting them through a door. Pretty sure this is my first ever doors match that I can remember seeing, and it had Big Mama, Jake Atlas, Elena Black, Priscilla Kelly, Devon Monroe, and Jamie Senegal, I believe his name was. Elena Black has grown on me. I've really come to like her. I love Priscilla Kelly. But this match definitely seemed to favor Big Mama, given the stipulation and the size advantage she had over pretty much everyone. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of Elena Black, as she was pretty much just thrown through a door almost as soon as the match started by Big Mama to get things going. So that was sad. Oh, excuse me, I don't know why I'm so tired. But after that, the match really did pick up. Big Mama was pretty much in control of the match. She was destroying everybody. She had 2 chairs in the ring. She set a table up across them and was looking to put people through it until she went up top to superplex somebody. and everybody ganged up on her and basically power bombed her through the door instead. When she was eliminated, it definitely picked up the pace of the match, and we got to see a whole lot more wrestling happening as everybody else was on much more equal footing than they were trying to handle the monster that is Big Mama. Devin was the next one to get put through a table. It was outside the ring. He got thrown into one, and then Priscilla Kelly came running off the ring apron and kind of cannonballed into him, sending him through that table, leaving just three of them. While Priscilla was on the outside, there was a really nice exchange between Jack Atlas and Jamie Senegal. I would definitely love to see the two of them in a match together. They had great chemistry, very fast paced, very good countering of each other's moves. It was a really good display between the two of them, for sure. But we ended up getting Senegal eliminated next by he made the mistake of saving Priscilla Kelly from Jack Atlas, and then Jack ended up putting him through the table instead. Jack Atlas and Priscilla Kelly just tore the roof down after this, though. The two of them put on a great showing together. Counters, reversals, slams, scoops, playing off everything. And I would really love to see a one-on-one intergender match between them, as they really did have good chemistry in the ring going against each other. The match ended, though, with there was a table across the outside hanging from the apron to the front row stands there. And Priscilla Kelly and Jake were battling on the top turnbuckle to try to put each other through it, and it ended up being Priscilla Kelly who got dropped and went pretty much from the top rope to the floor with only the table in between. And it was a brutal looking bump, but it was really cool to see. So Jack Atlas picked the win up there, and it was that match is worth the price of the video in the event itself. If you didn't like anything else on this card, I would say go pay the $10. This match and the tag match before they were more than worth the $10 admission price. They were just really well done, and definitely worth checking out. After this, we had a segment where Shotzi Blackheart came out with the Sabotage War of Genders Championship belt. She laid an open challenge out. A masked person came out, just destroyed her. The ref called for the bell, disqualifying this masked wrestler, allowing Shotzi to retain her belt. The masked wrestler turned out to be Effie, who then went and dropped a killer promo about the LGBTQ wrestling community as a whole. Many on Twitter have described it as a pipe bomb of pride. He basically called everybody out on everything that was going on. It was kind of a heel promo, but kind of a face promo all at the same time, kind of depending how you felt about Effie and what he was saying and how true you bought into what he was saying in places. Some of it I could definitely see and definitely agree with. He made some good points about how the month of June, that is Pride Month, is the only time that a bunch of them get booked for shows like this, because it's the feel-good buzzword moment for promotions to do it. And then once July rolls around, the bookings dry up for a lot of them. But then he also took some shots at Nyla Rose and Sonny Kiss, saying that they were just the flavor of the month being used by AEW in the same way, and they were just yes men for the propaganda and then things like that, which is a little bit harder to buy into with how AEW's been all about the progressive and the inclusiveness and things like that. That was a bit of kind of a stretch, kind of just a heel thing to get heat by calling out Nyla and Sonny, who then came down to the ring, pulled him off, beat him down, threw him out, and moved us on to the main event then for the night. So let me know what you guys thought about Effie being there, about his promo, what he had to say. Did you agree with all of it? Did you feel like he just had some good points and then some stuff was just there for the shock value? I'd love to hear some of your feedback on that. I am by no means an expert on that segment of wrestling, as it's not one that I'm overly familiar with, and my only real exposure to it has really been through AEW and through Effie showing up places and me just being familiar with his work. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment sections or on Twitter to us. Would love to engage and hear about it and see what you guys thought about that. The main event was Mercedes Martinez, and I'm going to destroy his name. Caponardo, Caparero, he's a Lucha Libre legend. We'll leave it at that. You can go look the card up and get it. This match, I mean, I really just did not take any notes on because I was just enjoying it. It was not what I expected. I was expecting kind of just like a greatest hits match of Mercedes and him kind of not going through the motions, but kind of just putting on a good show and the fans getting a chance to pop and enjoy some of his work in person kind of deal. But it just turned into a brutal slugfest at points of just violence. It was a great main event. It's worth watching. It caught me by surprise. It was not a typical current roster versus Legends match. It was a knockdown, drag out fight beginning to end. He did not lose a step against her, and she did not go easy on him at all. So it is a match worth seeing. Definitely go check it out. The whole pay-per-view is worth it. The big news came at the end of the main event, though, where Mercedes took the mic and cut a promo saying that Rise was no longer just for women's wrestling, that it was no longer just going to be building the future women of wrestling, but it was going to be about bringing up and cultivating the future attractions of wrestling, and the doors were going to be open to anybody, man, woman, child, dog, cat, moose. She just rivaled off basically every you identified. Rise was going to be a place for you to showcase your talents and get a stage to perform on. And that was how the show closed out, was with that bit of a bombshell, which is a big shift from what Rise has been. And this show is kind of the kickoff to the new direction for Rise as a promotion is going to be. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What did you think about that? How did you feel about the change in direction for Rise? Are you excited? Are you kind of annoyed? Did you like it better when it was just women? What were your thoughts? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you had to say about it. I think it's going to be exciting. A lot of the talent they showcased here I'd never heard of before, but I really enjoyed their work in the ring, so I'm curious to see what else they bring to the table and what else they bring to the plate as they put more shows on moving forwards. So I'm curious to see what comes of this, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. So toss a comment and let us know. I'm Gary Cook, and this has been a Divas Dive. Enjoy it, and we will see you all for the next one.